I always describe wellness as like chocolate milk. Folks always want to talk about behavioral health or physical health. And I go, it's actually a lot more like chocolate milk. It's like, well, which part's the chocolate, which part's the milk? Who knows? And could you separate those? Probably not. Wellness is a lot like that.
Welcome everybody to Talking Health with Health Solutions, our new podcast that it will be focused on the behavioral and the physical side. This podcast is being brought to you by Health Solutions, a nonprofit community provider that has been serving the Pueblo and surrounding areas for over 60 years. On today's first episode, we have the one and only, our CEO, Jason Chippeaux. We'll sit down with him and have a meaningful conversation. Let's talk health. This is Talking Health with Health Solutions. We're your hosts, Melissa Ayala and Nanci Gonzalez. We're so excited to be here for our first official episode. We're here to talk not only about physical health, like Nanci said, but also the overall well-being and guide our passion for mental health and well-being of our community. So thank you for being here with us, Jason.
It's great to be here.
So we have some questions we want to ask you, Jason, and not to put you on the spot. But
are they easy?
Oh, some of them. At the end, they might be a little bit challenging. Yeah. Talking about health solutions and this being our first episode, I think it's very important for us to kind of dive into, what are the origins of health solutions? Mm-hmm. How did this agency start?
It's a cool story. I mean, it started in the basement of a county office over 60 years ago, as you mentioned, and has it's historically always served almost from its inception, Pueblo, Huerfano, and Los Animas counties. So our rural counties have been a part of the Pueblo story from almost day one. And like many mental health centers that kind of got their founding back in that time, it came out of the deinstitutionalization movement. And the hope was to get folks that could thrive in a recovery space in the communities out of institutions. And so the federal funding kind of launched back in the early 50s, and that's when Health Solutions started. We started as Spanish Peaks, and back then I think it was Spanish Peaks Mental Health, if I'm remembering right. And then as the language and continuum of care kind of grew, it was Spanish Peaks Behavioral Health Systems for a while. And then when we got into the integrated medical space in 2016, I believe it was, we changed our name to Health Solutions to reflect the fact that we were practicing primary care medicine, early child development services, and just kind of that depth of continuum that we've continued to add to the system.
And you make a really good point, because what we've gained as far as insight goes in the world of behavioral health is that we can't separate the two.
Yeah, that's right.
Mental health and physical health align together. So we've kind of grown with that process. So what is Health Solutions like today?
Well, to your point on the integration piece, I always describe wellness as like chocolate milk. One, because I love chocolate milk, but two, because it's such a good analogy. Yeah. Folks always want to talk about behavioral health or physical health when it comes to wellness, and they do that kind of categorically. And I go, it's actually a lot more like chocolate milk. It's like, well, which part's the chocolate, which part's the milk? Well, who knows? And could you separate those? Probably not, and still have chocolate milk. So wellness is a lot like that. And that's kind of our overall philosophical framework, is we want to treat people, not categories. Right. And it doesn't mean we do everything, but it means we understand at the big picture level that there is an integration that is likely multifaceted and multidimensional, and we try to orient our treatment approach to that. So what was the other question you asked? I'm sorry, I got sidetracked on chocolate milk.
Me too. I want some now. What is it like today within the Health Solutions environment as we've grown through that process to integrate both physical and behavioral health?
We're a lot different as a provider. Rob Keplinger, who's been with us almost 50 years now, I think it'll be 50 years in June, talks about some of our first buildings. Our recovery center off of 4th Street used to be the main service site for Health Solutions. And that, I don't know what the square footage of that, but maybe it's a quarter of Chinook, let's say, for instance. Yeah. So what has it been like? Well, first there's been the recognition of the integrated model. And so we've moved from the basement of a county office into having over 20 facilities here in Southern Colorado, many large facilities that bring a framework of integration. And so our primary site here in Montebello, we have a service line that is everything from outpatient counseling to respite care, to pharmacy on demand, to primary care, medical practice, vaccines, coughs, colds, that kind of thing, to outreach services, like our CRT team is housed out of here, our SOS team, which is a dispatch response team for the community, is out of here. So the journey for me has been interesting because I started before the integration kind of philosophical framework was weaving into our service delivery system. We had certainly understood that we needed to grow. But when I started Health Solutions 14 years ago, for example, the payment mechanisms for substance abuse and behavioral health weren't even the same. Right. So there was a bifurcation in the system between those two very integrated ideas. And so to watch that evolve over time has been tremendous. The other thing that I think has been significant for us as an organization is the focus on the workforce and the focus on the health and wellness and satisfaction of the workforce. As a community mental health or behavioral health or integrated service provider, however you want to think of us, our goal is to raise the floor in the community. And we've always had a hyper focus on the clients, and that's appropriate and well placed. What we've brought to the table over the last several years isn't the understanding that, the health and wellness of our employees impacts the wellness of the community as well. We're a large employer in the counties that we work. And so really trying to hold those things at the same level. We exist for two primary populations, our workforce and the client base.
Back when I started, because it was Spanish Speaks, back when I started, and I think like a couple months later it changed name. And so you definitely see the growth that Health Solutions has had, and it's been incredible to see the growth from even back 10 years ago to what it is now. But I kind of want to ask you what it was your passion, what got you into this field? And I think just to spice up the questions, another one is, what does a typical day look like for the CEO of Health Solutions? The people want to know. I want to know.
Yeah, fun questions. I call myself an accidental social worker because I didn't know what the field was when I got into the business. So went to a small college in a small community for my undergraduate degree in Ohio. Oh, and nice. I had always thought I would work with kids in some capacity, and my background was kind of driving that. I come from a pretty turbulent upbringing, and there's a whole story there that I won't get into. But the short version of that was I wanted to help and thought I could help, particularly teenagers that had gone through a lot of things that I went to. So when I got out of college, and at that time, I thought it would be like an outdoor-based kind of adventure, like a intervention kind of thing like that. And I had done some work in Colorado in that regard. And so that's kind of where I was headed. When I got out of college, the YMCA, I had been working for the YMCA all the way through college and needed to get a job that I could actually afford the rent. Yeah. And I did it about 3 months on third shift in a warehouse and thought, I cannot do this much longer. So there was a job posting for a youth leader position for a facility in Ohio. And the name of the facility at that time was the Buckeye Ranch. And so I keyed in on the word ranch, and I was like, hey, that sounds cool. It's what I kind of want to do. I want to be outdoors with kids. I'd never worked on a ranch, but I've been doing a lot of outdoor rec anyway. So I went and applied. It turned out that was an inpatient acute facility for kids. I had no framework for what that would even mean. Yeah. So I show up on campus. It's a beautiful space, but it looks different than it didn't look like a ranch. It looked like a facility. But I didn't have a category for what a facility was at that time. So I just kind of smiled and nodded through the interview. They're asking me questions about, restraint, seclusion, all these things that I actually did not even know what meant. And I'm just like, it's working with troubled kids. That's what I want to do. So they offered me the job. And it's kind of like today, inpatient units, like if you have a pulse, you have an interest, they're going to hire you kind of thing. So I literally showed up to my first day to work the floor in a locked acute unit in a tie. That's how disconnected I was from what was about ready to happen. And I don't know why it stuck. It was certainly an education, but I worked for that for a year. I had some really good bosses, and one of my bosses was a social worker from Ohio State, and had a knack for working with the kids. And she said, you really should give this a go. And I know some of the deans for the social work program at Ohio State. If you're interested, I think I can get you in, and we'll work with you. And here's another job working in the community. We can give you that while you're going to school, and kind of away it went.
Yeah, kind of a path, not a path you didn't even know you needed to be on.
I didn't choose it intentionally, but
it chose you.
Yeah, that's right. And it's been quite a journey, and that was, almost 30 years ago. I was thinking about that this morning. So first half of my career in Ohio, always wanted to get back to Colorado because some of those early experiences that I shared or alluded to. And so that's kind of how it went. Life, an average day in the life of the CEO isn't, I wish it was super sexy and something that I could
glamorous.
Be like, hey, we're doing all these cool things. But it's pretty much what you would expect. I have some personal disciplines and rhythms that show up pretty routinely every day. I get up early. Usually that's somewhere between 4:30 and 5. I work out. Wow. That happens for me because I have kids, so working out when I get home at night's complicated.
Sure.
I don't love mornings. I've never been a super morning person, but it's kind of had to work out that way. Try to come in between 7 and 7:30 most days. That gives me a little bit of time to clear the path before I hit the day. And then depending on what the composition of activities looks like, some days are more heavy in the community. Some days are more heavy internally, but it's a lot of meetings. It's a lot of email. It's a lot of stakeholder engagement. It's a lot of strategic planning with the executive team and making sure that we're hitting the KPIs that we've set as a department. Here recently with the expansion out west, the 10 counties out on the western slope, I am spending at least a week out west working with that organization and getting leadership on deck. And so it's pretty much what you would expect. Yeah. I am no more busy than the average staff member at Health Solutions. So I wish I could say I'm super cool. I'm just like, we all work hard. All of our days are filled to the brim. And what I would say is that I am super grateful and feel privileged to be able to work with the kind of talent that we have here.
Absolutely.
On both sides, both companies, we just have so many incredibly talented people that in some ways it makes it easy.
Yeah, and you make a really good point because something that we've really adopted as the culture here at Health Solutions is this sense of the shared ownership.
Yeah.
And that everybody has just an equal part in the success of Health Solutions. So can you talk a little bit about that culture of extreme ownership and how that's kind of molded the work that we do every day?
Yeah, it's been paramount. It doesn't really work to have a small group of people making decisions or creating momentum without the larger workforce being engaged. If you work full-time, the math of your life sums in total heavy on the work side. Mm-hmm. And so you go, well, what do you want to give your life to? Do you want to give your life to following marching orders of someone who's disconnected from what's going on the ground? Or would it be more interesting and expansive for you to take some ownership and create with that time that you're spending at life. Like, would you rather make an investment that is expansive, or would you rather feel diminished when you leave work? And ownership's kind of like about that.
Yeah.
It's about taking the reins of what's occurring around you and steering it and moving it toward the mission in a way that is an authentic representation of what you bring to the table and giving you the space to do that. So like this podcast never would have happened if it had to come from me. But there was a lot of energy around it. There was a lot of enthusiasm around it. And you go, well, let's let people do that stuff. Let's create the space and opportunity for people to bring them best selves forward and to own their time at work in a very default aggressive way.
Absolutely. We agree. And when we're, like we said, we're so excited for this opportunity, and just one more way that we can reach not only the client base that we have at Health Solutions, but just the community in the larger, broader picture. So speaking of that, what do you want the community to know about Health Solutions? What do you want our listeners to really, like, if they get anything out of this podcast and the insights that you've provided today, what do you want them to know?
A couple of different things. The first thing would be we are here, and with a big emphasis on the word here. Tele-based care or video-based care has become very popular, and I think it's important. There's a large segment of the population that needs access to that. But most people want to have a personal experience, particularly with primary care and behavioral health both. You kind of want to know your practitioner, and you want to have a sense that they know you, and many of us like to do that in person. And so we have put a heavy emphasis on having top shelf professionals on the therapy side, on the medical side, on the ground, in the office, so that you can come and get that personal, kind of touch point of care that you want to have. So we are here and we have good access. The other thing is, many people may or may not know, but if you have a behavioral health need, our access to service is as simple as just come. You don't have to call for an appointment. You don't have to do a lot of mechanics online. You can just show up during our open access at one of our open access sites, and we will get you connected with a therapist straight away that day. That is unique. That's important. And I think it's important that the community understands that. The final thing that I would want folks to know is that the care that you are going to get at Health Solutions is state of the art. We really have top talent. We are routinely recognized and awarded Best of Pueblo, for example, in our communities. We have a lot of just high-end talent that wants and are recruited to come work for us, and they really have a heart for the work they're doing. So you're not going to get better care anywhere else. I think we deliver some of the best care in the state, and that's important for the community to know. It doesn't matter what your payment source is. You are going to receive really good care here.
I think that's great for our listeners to understand and know that access is always available for them.
That's right.
Now we're getting into the rapid fire questions. So these
Awesome.
are the spicy ones,
That's
the good
all right. Okay,
ones.
I like spicy.
Does pineapple go on pizza? Now
Yes.
before you, love it already.
Yes.
Love it already. I'm
Oh,
with
I
you.
don't
I'm with you.
I'm questioning that a little bit.
Okay.
And is hot dog a sandwich?
No.
What is a hot dog?
Mystery meat.
Mystery.
Delicious?
That's questionable.
Mystery meat, but it's delicious,
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, Jason. We appreciate you, and we appreciate your leadership and everything that you bring to not only Health Solutions clients, but also the staff as a whole. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.